This is the November 9th, 2011 Math SAT question of the day. Read the following SAT question, click the button, select your answer. Which of the following could be the equation of the function graphed in the xy plane above? So it looks kind of like a parabola, but part of the parabola got flipped up right here. And it looks like as soon as the normal parabola was going to go negative, we actually took the positive values. So one hint here is absolute value, this operator. And look, a couple of choices down here have the absolute value, so that looks kind of promising. This question becomes a little bit simpler if you realize, or if you review your transformations on curves. But we'll walk through it and we'll check each of these and make sure we understand them. So is this graph equal to y equals minus x squared plus 1? Well, you know, when you take a minus x and square it, it's just the same as taking any old x and squaring it. But let's see what the curve of that is. So the curve of that is symmetrical about the line x equals 0, because if x is negative, it's the same as x equals positive. You can take the negative sign, but once you square it, you basically get a square. And then plus 1 basically moves the graph upward. So it's not that one. We just checked that one. Let's try the next one. Y equals minus x squared plus 1. So then when I put the minus sign out in front of the x squared, basically I'm flipping over the parabola. Let's take a look at what that equals. We'll close this one down since we know it's not that one. Okay. So it's a parabola because it's x squared. But when you put the minus sign out in front, it flips the parabola over. And when you add a 1, once again it moves the whole graph up 1 plus 1. This is a shifting operator. Shifts, moves it up and down in the y-axis. So you know what? The answer isn't B either, because it doesn't look like that one. Well, let's try the next one. Y equals the absolute value of x squared plus 1. I can get the absolute values to work here. Okay, let's close this one down. So this is going to be a parabola, and it starts at x squared. So it's symmetrical about the line x equals 0, because positive values for x are the same as negative, and it's shifted up 1. So let's see. Okay, good. Looks very similar to this one right here, right? But it doesn't look the same as the curve we've got, so it's not that one either. Let's try the next option. Y equals the absolute value of x squared minus 1. And we'll close this one down. Let's try this one. Oh, interesting. This is looking good. So why does this look good? The minus 1 is going to shift the normal parabola for x squared down 1. So that's all fine. But down means it would be negative. And so anytime you're going to go negative, we're actually going to take the positive of that with the absolute value symbols. And then this x squared, this means we're symmetrical about the line x equals 0. Because positive values and negative values squared are the same. Okay, so that one's looking really good. Just to check our answer though, let's plot the last one. And let's talk about why it doesn't work. Y equals the absolute value of x minus 1 squared. Can't quite see that. Let me see if I got that right. Didn't quite get that right. Alright, let's keep trying here. Okay, cool. So y equals the absolute value of x minus 1 quantity squared. So when is the absolute value ever going to be necessary on this? Because any number squared is always positive. So in reality, this is just x minus 1 squared, which is just going to be the following. Let's plot it here. Oops. Alright, so what happened here? So when you take this x minus 1 quantity and square it, you're no longer symmetrical about the line x equals 0 because you're shifting the value of x before you're squaring it. You're shifting it left or right. So it's not that one because that one's not symmetrical about the line x equals 0. So the answer here is D, y equals the absolute value of x squared minus 1.